What better way for a son and father to bond over than their mutual love for the Dallas Cowboys? Hi, I'm Michael Davis with my dad, Mack. We're a star-studded son and dad duo on the Star Studded Cowboys Network, powered by Fans First Sports Network and Boom Broadcasting. And this is Dad and the Boys. Just like I said the other day, the star on our clothing may fade, but the star in our hearts never do. Welcome, Dad and the Boys, today. It's episode 13. It's the Michael Gallup episode. We got our coffee ready. Go App State, roll Nears. Hopefully this ages well. And you got different strokes.
What you talking about, Willis?
We're talking about Michael Gallup first. We'll talk about the Cleveland Browns game here momentarily. But, Dad, Michael Gallup obviously retired this offseason after signing with the Raiders. Obviously.
Can you blame him?
Fair. I mean, you're not wrong. But he's still pretty young, and, of course, he was trying to bow back from an injury. Yeah. Would you ever want Michael Gallup to come back to the team either this year, next year? And do you think he could contribute?
You know, I mean, he's still got that toe drag swag in there. And Michael Gallup's one of those players I really love. Mm-hmm. And we talked about this on a few previous episode that, you know, the one story I remember from him was the fact that how great of an owner Jerry Jones is as far as how he treats his players. And we were in Atlanta, and Michael's brother killed himself, and he took in he was devastated, but he played the game, and instead of going back to Dallas with the team, Jerry Jones let him stay in Atlanta, the Georgia area, to handle family matters and take his time. And then he provided him his personal jet to take and come home on to Dallas. You know, yeah, he was trying to come back from injury, and sometimes that can take a while. I don't know if it was rushed or what, but Michael Gallup's one of those players, you know, again, I've always loved. And, you know, he made some phenomenal quick catches. A lot of times what you see with the players is when their production does not meet the contract that they sign. You know, Amari Cooper, we're going to face him in Cleveland this weekend. His contract didn't match it, so we shipped him off for nothing.
That's what I'm mad about.
You know, really for nothing, but to get rid of his contract. And when they signed him, it was going to be, they did his contract in a way where it was, do we keep Amari Cooper or do we re-sign Michael Gallup? Little did we know that, you know, when they did re-sign Michael Gallup, that wouldn't go all the way to the end of the contract. That, you know, we would have the emergence of
CD
Lamb, and that we would trade for Brandon Cooks, and Jalen Tolbert would be coming on the horizon, and some of the young talent that we would have. Again, it was a cap-saving measure for releasing Michael Gallup. Him going to sign with the Raiders and then decide to retire. I would definitely welcome a reunion if we could get the old Michael Gallup back.
Yeah. And maybe a year off football does get the old Michael Gallup back.
It very well could. He's still a young player. So, I mean, you know, we'll just see, you know, what the future holds for Michael Gallup. I wish him the best, if it is in football going forward or if it's not in life. Whatever it brings for him, I wish him the best wholeheartedly, because I always liked him and I always respected the player.
Yeah, I absolutely love Michael Gallup. So, you know, maybe we'll see number 13 back with the Dallas Cowboys eventually, episode 13. And we're finally here. Football is back. The Dallas Cowboys play the Cleveland Browns, and it is Tom Brady's first ever broadcasting game. So we won't hold Tom Brady to the standard we held him to on the football field, win more Super Bowls than any NFL team. Sorry for you guys who don't recognize the greatness of Tom Brady. But it is Cleveland. Dallas is very interesting because neither team really played their starters for much of the preseason. Dallas didn't really play them at all other than the offensive linemen And it's kind of interesting. The Cowboys in general, they're going to be missing DeRon Bland. The Cleveland Browns in general are going to be missing Nick Chubb, and their 2 starting tackles are questionable for this game.
And one has already said he's coming out. He's not starting. The left tackle.
Left tackle?
He said he was not starting for the Browns.
So Jedrick Wills will not be playing?
I don't know if he will be playing or not, but he's already said that he will not be starting.
Okay. So we're looking at James Hudson III starting left tackle.
Well, they mentioned another name, Conklin.
Yeah. Conklin's the starting right tackle as of now.
Okay. So I don't know if he's going to be doing right tackle or if he's going to switch over to left. I have no clue. And
for those wondering, I will be on the Johnny Cleveland show this weekend to preview more of the Cowboys-Browns game and get that Cleveland insight so I can share that with Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy and the rest of the team to make sure Johnny Cleveland's podcast is on Fans First Sports Network. So we'll know a little bit more of Cleveland. But when you look at the Browns team, I'm not concerned about the offensive line, especially if their starting tackles are out. But I am concerned about Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. We're very familiar with Amari Cooper.
There's always a tendency when you're going against your former team to want to outshine and give them a reason why it was wrong for them to let you go. And there's always that risk. But understand this, that Cleveland this Sunday is the starting point. Every journey has a starting point. Okay? And this year, the journey is Mike McCarthy, every year he gives them a theme. And this year, I think last year, I can't pronounce the term, but it meant to seize everything.
Carpe diem.
Carpe diem or whatever it was. It was seize everything. This year, it is rooted.
Ooh.
And I love that theme. And the players' interviews have all been saying that how they have connected to that theme. And he used the description of a bamboo tree that you water for 5 years, and that in that 5th year it shows the growth. And you think about the process that he's been doing. This is year number 5, and his dad told him, which is great for dad and the boys. His dad told him to live life in 5-year increments, segments. And try to put it in those contexts, 5 years. Look at your 5-year period. Well, guess what? It happened in year 5 at Green Bay. He hoisted a trophy in our home. So I do love the concept of rooted, and how you're growing your roots there. And he's built a culture, a team in this organization over the 5-year period. Because when he went to San Francisco that first time and they got punched in the mouth, or actually they came to us and punched us in the mouth in the postseason,
it hurt.
You started seeing a change in philosophy. Hey, we want guys that are going to be mean and nasty, and that are willing to punch back when they get hit. Mike Tyson said that, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the nose.
Yeah.
Or punched in the face, whatever. But he has built that culture for the Dallas Cowboys. And so I'm looking forward to this being the start of that journey. Do you have any?
I mean, I'm excited. I used to work at a place where they used the summer theme. Rooted. Shout out Dave Purcell on that one, coming up with that. So they're just taking some ideas, and that was a good summer. So that was a good summer. Hopefully this is a good fall for the Dallas Cowboys. But of course, we're on Fans First Sports Network. If you're listening to an audio version, if you're watching on Boom Broadcasting, thank you, by the way. And if you are enjoying this episode, I just ask, share it with 3 friends. That's all you got to do. Say, hey, I have this Cowboys fan. We take over America. We really are America's team. So if you have three friends who you think would enjoy this Dad and the Boys podcast, just shoot it over to them. Send them the link, either audio or video, and ask them to support us. But when we come back from our commercial break, we are going to give you 1 star, a key matchup that will impact this Browns-Cowboys game, and of course, a final score. And hopefully I can get back in the good graces of my dad, or looking for adoption papers. So either way, just enjoy. We'll be back right after this commercial break. Welcome back to Dad and the Boys. If you're watching us on Boom Broadcasting, thank you. If you're listening to us on Fans First Sports Network, thank you as well. I know it's noon and we're drinking coffee, and that's just the way it goes. We need to get through the rest of the day. Stayed up super late last night for the Chiefs and the Ravens game. But
what a game!
I mean, hey, you got the toe, right? That's called toeing the line, folks.
Hey, I do not feel sorry for him, because I remember watching a Giants game against Dallas, and Dez Bryant caught the ball and came down with a pinky finger.
And we lost the game.
It's
a stinky way to lose the game. And hopefully Dallas doesn't lose this game. We'll give our final score prediction at the very end. But I want to introduce a 1-star matchup. And if you know, go follow Boom Broadcasting and watch the Drop the Mic Wrestling podcast if you want to learn more. But this will be a segment called, we need one player from the other team, one player from Dallas, and this is going to impact the game. This is going to basically decide the game. So what 1-star matchup do you look forward to seeing the most this weekend?
I want to say Guyton against
Myles
Garrett. But I'm actually going to go with whoever that tackle is against Micah Parsons. Line, bro, this is your time to shine. You said we talked about just earlier about Mike McCarthy's one-word theme, rooted. Well, Mr. Parsons has a season theme himself. It's called Assassin. And if you're going to be an assassin, you've got to kill these moments.
Yeah.
And what better way to get your season started? Because they're predicting that you will be the defensive MVP. Make it happen. Make them, from the word go, set the tone in this game. And Zimmer, give him that opportunity. Put him in the matchups that make us remember what Micah Parsons was, and will be this coming year. And I remember just watching him that first year, and I was so glad when they drafted Micah, and because he was the best defensive player in the college football at that time when they drafted him. And I remember sitting there watching him bounce around from, defensive end to linebacker, rushing from anywhere, finding the weak key matchup. Unfortunately, I think Dan Quinn went away from that over the last little bit of his tenure in Dallas and put him out there exclusively on the left end or right end position. And Zimmer, take advantage. Find the matchup. Put him out there. He can. Mr. Parsons can overtake a game.
Mm-hmm.
He's unblockable. 1-on-1, he's unblockable.
And you're going to need extra help, especially if the Browns are missing a couple key pieces on the end of their offensive line. My 1-star matchup is almost like you almost went for Myles Garrett, Tyler Guyton. Obviously, this is a welcome to the NFL moment, but I have full faith in Tyler Guyton, especially how he handled Max Crosby. Can he do it for an entire game? We'll see how that goes.
He's going to win some, and he's going to lose some. And hopefully he wins a lot more than he loses.
Exactly.
We do not want to see a Chaz Green episode.
No, not with your first-round pick. But my 1-star matchup is not necessarily Trayvon Diggs versus Amari Cooper, but it's Jerry Jeudy versus Caelen Carson, because I think Amari and Trayvon hopefully follow each other throughout the entire game, and we get to see a battle among men. But how does this rookie look against Jerry Jeudy, who now has a decent quarterback thrown to him? Deshaun Watson isn't as great as he was a few years ago before all the off-the-field issues, but Deshaun Watson is still better than any quarterback Jerry Jeudy played with in Denver. I'm interested to see how Caelen Carson in his first game goes up against Jerry Jeudy.
That'll be a tough matchup. Hopefully, the Zimmer has a plan to give the Rook a little bit of help. But then again, maybe Seatbelt doesn't need help.
Maybe Seatbelt doesn't need help.
He just hooks him up and takes it on.
We may need a official Seatbelt to sit with us in the chairs for Dad and the Boys. But we're closing in on our episode of Dad and the Boys, getting ready for this weekend. We've given you our one-star matchup. We've kind of talked a little bit about the entire game. Final score prediction, Dad. What do you think happens? Are you doing predictions? Is this a superstitious thing you don't want to do?
If you're new to Boom Broadcasting or Dad and the Boys, we have several shows on the program. And a lot of the guys have went and did fantasy football drafts and everything. And he asked Dad, he said, Dad, since you're part of Boom Broadcasting, are you going to do fantasy football? I said, son, I do not do fantasy football because I will not sit down in front of my TV and root for another team unless it benefits Dallas. That's my thing. I'm not going to sit and root for a player unless his production on the field benefits the Dallas Cowboys. Period. And I'm not going to have mixed emotions about some player coming into Dallas, playing against Dallas, and needing to do well to keep my fantasy football. So I don't do that. We have a show on Boom Broadcasting called Lombardi Party. Carson does a great job. Go and following. Enjoy it. I have no issues with the Lombardi Party or Lombardi name because that's my favorite trophy. We'll be hoisting one this year.
Yes.
Again, my prediction for the season is 17-0. We'll win by 1 point each game.
Oh, my goodness.
And at the end of the year, we'll be hoisting that Lombardi trophy. But in all seriousness, I do look for a win in Cleveland. Cleveland is a 2.5-point favorite, the last I heard. But I'm looking for us to win by 3.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Aubrey.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Aubrey, if that happens. So I was very back and forth when it comes to this game for several reasons. One, the Cowboys didn't really play any of their stars. So this will be the first action we see with Dak Prescott, Ezekiel Elliott, CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs. Like, the list goes on and on and on. We didn't want to risk any major injuries in preseason. We had a couple big injuries in train camp with Sam Williams, and then Deron Bland's going to miss a good part of the first season. So I was worried about rust. But then I look at Cleveland, and I feel like they're missing some key pieces, Nick Chubb being one of them. Could Jerome Ford take over that starting job? And then you look at Deshaun Watson just in general. I feel like he's been rusty ever since he got to Cleveland and got that big contract. Amari Cooper, obviously the one I'm afraid of burning us on the offensive side. Myles Garrett, the one I'm worried about burning us on the defensive side. So it's going to be a really good game. I've been back and forth. Like, if you asked me yesterday, I'm probably taking Cleveland. Don't hit me. Now I'm leaning Dallas. With the health of that offensive line, and you're going up against DeMarcus Lawrence, you're going up against Micah Parsons. Marshawn Nealon is very motivated. It looks bleak for Cleveland. And I think just in general, it looks bleak for Cleveland. And everybody overhypes them. I'm sure I'm going to hear it when I go on the Giant Cleveland show, brought to you by Fans First Sports Network for that network and connection. I'm going to give Dallas, and I'm going to go by 5. I think Dallas wins by 5. And Dak's heard all the criticism. Everybody's heard all the criticism. Dallas needs to show up and win and start the season off hot.
And I think if your earlier prediction comes true and over the next day or two, we have a new signed quarterback, he'll be playing with extra incentive. And there again, it's one of those things where, full disclosure, I will never say that another team's going to beat Dallas.
Is that a prediction or a spoiler?
That is a spoiler. I will never on this show say that another team will beat Dallas. Now, I may have to admit they beat Dallas, but I will never predict them to beat Dallas. There will be some tough games this season. We've got a tough schedule. And the NFL is made for parity. But I believe Dak got reminiscence of Roger and Troy, that if there's football in his hands with 2 minutes or remaining and a chance, that we can pull it out. So I do believe that with our defense and stuff this year, that we've got the talent to make great strides. And I think that Rudy's going to kind of get us over the edge, and we're going to have a great, wonderful season. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to sharing it on Sundays and afternoons and Sunday nights, Monday nights, Thursday afternoons, whatever day they play throughout the season, sitting there watching it with my son and my family and enjoying it, and hopefully get to come back on here each week and share a good old-fashioned party.
Yes.
Victory laps.
Victory laps. Now, we want to say, I mentioned that Johnny Cleveland appearance this weekend. I'll help link people when it drops. That way you can get a Cleveland versus Dallas opinion right there. When the Sunday game concludes, of course, Boom Broadcasting announced on Thursday night that we're doing the Gridiron Address. Aaron Schneider will be hosting that. I am going to be on the first episode. Shannon Smith, Podcast Smitty from Quick Hits, will be on that episode as well. And this will be a great part to talk about between the afternoon games, once Dallas is done playing Cleveland, and before that primetime Sunday night football game each and every week. That's what we're going to do on Boom Broadcasting Live. But in addition to Dad and the Boys dropping their next episode, official episode, on Tuesday at noon, we want to share that we will be doing a quick little snippet exclusive to Audio Fans First Sports Network. Hey, what did Mike McCarthy say in his press conference? What's happening there? What can we make of what McCarthy said? It'll be a quick 5 minutes. It really won't get into the game because that's what we'll do on Tuesday afternoons, but it'll just be about the press conference if there's anything huge that happened, and that'll be a quick 5-minute show. So won't be a 20-minute episode like this one, but we enjoyed having you. You may now return to your regularly scheduled lives. Thanks for tuning in to Dad and the Boys on the Star Studded Cowboys Network, powered by Fans First Sports Network and Boom Broadcasting, with the dad Mack, with the son Michael. And remember, this isn't our first rodeo, and we'll catch you here next time. Oh, was I supposed to? Roll nears.